The shelter manager's hand was shaking as she dialed the number. "We have to put him down tomorrow," she whispered into the phone. "Nobody wants him. He's been here 847 days." In Kennel 23, a massive pit bull named Duke lay motionless. His breathing was shallow. His ribs showed through patchy fur. Open sores covered his back legs. This wasn't just an unwanted dog. This was a dying soul that the world had given up on. But sometimes the universe has different plans. That same morning, 200 miles away, Emma Richardson was crying in her kitchen. Her daughter Sophie had asked the same question for the third time that week. "Mommy, why can't we have a dog?" Emma's husband James had been deployed overseas for 8 months. Sophie, only 7 years old, was struggling. The loneliness was eating her alive. Emma knew they needed something, someone, to fill that void. She opened her laptop and typed, "Dogs needing homes near me." And that's when she saw him. The photo was horrible. Duke looked more like a skeleton than a pit bull. One ear was torn. His eyes were glazed over with pain and resignation. Status, urgent. Last day tomorrow. Emma's heart stopped. She didn't think. She just called. "I want that pit bull," she said. "The one in Kennel 23. If you're still here and haven't subscribed yet, it honestly breaks our hearts. Stories like Duke's need voices like yours to spread hope, because without you, these gentle souls stay invisible. The shelter manager was silent for 5 full seconds. "Ma'am, you should know this dog is very sick. He has severe malnutrition, infected wounds, possible nerve damage in his back legs. The vet bills alone could be thousands. And he's a pit bull, 150 pounds when healthy. Are you absolutely sure?" Emma looked at Sophie coloring in the corner, drawing pictures of dogs for her absent father. "I'm sure. We'll be there in 3 hours." When Emma and Sophie walked into the shelter, the smell of antiseptic and sadness hit them immediately. Duke didn't even lift his head when they approached. "Hey, buddy," Sophie whispered through the cage bars. Nothing. Emma felt doubt creeping in. What was she doing? But then Sophie did something unexpected. She started singing. Not a real song, just a soft humming tune she made up. And Duke's ear twitched. Just slightly, but it twitched. "We'll take him," Emma said firmly. The drive home was silent, except for Duke's labored breathing in the back. Emma had laid down every blanket they owned. He couldn't even stand. At home, they created a recovery station in the living room. Soft bedding, water nearby. Emma had stopped at the pet store and maxed out her credit card on supplies and medication the shelter vet had prescribed. That first night, Duke didn't eat, he didn't drink, he just stared at the wall with those hollow eyes. Emma sat beside him until 3 a.m., gently applying ointment to his wounds. "You're safe now," she kept whispering. "You're finally safe." Day 2, nothing changed. Duke wouldn't touch food. The wounds looked worse. Day 3, Emma called the vet, panicking. "He's not eating. Should I bring him in?" The vet's voice was gentle but honest. "Mrs. Richardson, his body has been in survival mode for so long, it might be shutting down. Keep trying, but prepare yourself." Sophie refused to prepare herself. Every morning before school and every evening after, she sat next to Duke. She'd tell him about her day, about missing her dad, about the kids at school. She'd show him her drawings, and she'd sing that same humming tune. On day 7, something miraculous happened. Emma was in the kitchen when she heard Sophie scream. She ran into the living room, heart pounding, expecting the worst. But Sophie was laughing, crying and laughing at the same time. Duke had lifted his head, just slightly, and his tail, that massive pit bull tail, had moved. One small wag. "Mom, did you see that? He wagged for me!" From that moment, everything changed. Duke started eating, small amounts at first. Emma made him special meals, mixing his prescription food with boiled chicken and rice. Each day, he ate a little more. The wounds began closing. The fur started growing back in patches. His eyes, once glazed and empty, started showing something new, hope. By week 2, Duke could lift his head without struggling. By week 3, he stood up for the first time. His legs were shaky, trembling under his weight, but he stood. Sophie cheered like he just won a championship. Emma cried happy tears for the first time in months. But the real transformation wasn't physical. One evening, Sophie was doing homework on the floor. She was frustrated, erasing the same math problem over and over. Tears started falling on her paper. "I can't do it! Dad always helped me with math, and he's not here!" She threw her pencil across the room, buried her face in her hands, shoulders shaking with sobs. That's when everyone saw what Duke was really made of. This 150-pound dog who could barely walk 3 weeks ago, slowly, carefully, walked over to Sophie. He didn't rush. He moved with purpose. He lowered his massive head into her lap, and he stayed there, not moving, not making a sound, just being present in her pain. Sophie wrapped her arms around his thick neck and sobbed into his fur. "You understand, don't you, Duke? You know what it's like to feel alone. You know what it's like when nobody's there." Duke's tail wagged gently against the floor, like he was saying, "I'm here now." Emma had to leave the room. She couldn't let Sophie see her crying, but these were different tears. These were tears of gratitude. This broken dog was healing her broken daughter in ways she never could. The breakthrough came 6 weeks after Duke's rescue. Emma was folding laundry when her phone rang. "Emma, it's James! I'm coming home early! My deployment got cut short. I'll be home in 2 days!" She was so excited she dropped the phone. Sophie heard the commotion and came running, Duke right behind her. "Is it Dad? Is he coming home?" Emma nodded, unable to speak. Duke, sensing something big was happening, stood at attention, his tail wagging at full speed now, his eyes bright and clear. The transformation was complete. This wasn't the same dying dog from the shelter. This was a warrior who'd fought his way back to life. When James arrived home 2 days later, the reunion was everything Emma had dreamed of. But then Duke did something nobody expected. This dog who had been abused, starved, and abandoned by humans walked right up to James in his military uniform. No fear, no hesitation, and Duke sat. Perfect posture, chest out, head high, like he was saluting a commanding officer. James, this tough military man who'd seen combat zones and never broke, dropped his bags and fell to his knees. "Who is this magnificent creature?" he managed to ask through tears. Sophie and Emma explained everything, every detail of the rescue, the recovery, the dark days when they thought they'd lose him, the slow transformation, how Duke had become Sophie's rock when James couldn't be there, how this Pitbull had filled the void of an absent father without replacing him. James reached out and placed his hand on Duke's head. The dog leaned into the touch. "You protected my family when I couldn't," James whispered. "You kept them safe. You kept them going. You're a soldier too, buddy. The best kind."